was some of that? Like you said, you had a previous business and you're kind of naive. What were
Yeah.
some of those things that you were naive about, and how'd you use those, like those lessons learned to kind of promote and improve your business origin?
Well, I think being naive is a superpower, and
Mm,
like that's where I would probably, this whole thing would end up is being naive is a superpower if you truly have a singleness of purpose. If there's enough substance there to drive you forward. But I was naive to think that we could even sew something, like not even knowing the right type of thread to use, the right type of needles, that the fact that there's all these different stitch types. Some of them are stronger. There's lock stitch, there's chain stitch, there's overlock, there's all sorts of type of stitch types and machines. There's heavy duty, there's light duty, there's walking foot, there's needle feed, there's felling machines, it's crazy. Like I actually had to learn everything myself. I can fix almost every machine in the factory. But I was naive just the whole thing, the whole thing. And I remember this old woman saying to me, I knew I needed a sewing machine, and I knew I needed an embroidery machine. And I found this old embroidery machine up in the North Woods of Maine. Some guy had it up there in his embroidery business, and he sold it to me for $5,000 cash. And I remember going up there, and there's a woman up there, and she was like, and she was probably 70. And she's like, "You can't do this.
mm.
What are you talking about?" She's like, "It's not possible. It is dead. You will never be able to do this." And I remember thinking, you have no fucking idea who you're talking to. Like, I had a massive chip on my shoulder.
Hmm.
Like watch. And I think I said to her, and very nice way, I said, "You know what?" I said, "You're living in the past, and you may be affected by what has happened and have that bitterness about the factories closing and people losing their jobs, and I said, and I get that. I said, but this is possible. I said, and American manufacturing can live again, and I'm going to freaking prove it." Um, and then contrasting, I had an old timer, and they were friends, that was still working in a factory, and he said, "This is totally possible. You can totally do this. If you can learn yourself, if you can learn the knowledge." And he still works for me. I took him out of retirement. He still works for me. His name's Bill Kraft. Um, if you can get the knowledge yourself, then no one can pull the wool over your eyes, and you can make it happen. But you have to learn everything first.
Mm.
You got to know how to sew. You got to know how to fix the machines. You got to know how to create the processes. Got to understand pattern making. Like, you got to understand everything. So I just did a deep dive, and I actually tell people I lost probably 3 years. Like, literally lost 3 years. I don't know who won the world championships. Like, I don't know who won the pans. I don't know all I know is I was still training jiu-jitsu and then building this factory. Like, I don't even know what happened for TV shows. There was new bands that came out. I had no idea about new singers. It was just, if my eyes would open up, I'd go down to that factory, figure it out. And when I got tired, at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd walk back, my eyes would shut, and I'd go to bed. I'd just do that day after day after day. And, and things started to finally happen. The flywheel finally started to move.
That's a beautiful thing. Like you said, being naive is kind of, like you said, a superpower. And I relate with that, because some of the best decisions I've made were the decisions where I just jump into things. Because, a lot of people will like try to plan everything, and they overthink every single detail. And in a lot of cases, they talk themselves out of doing something.
Yeah.
But then if you've got that fire under your butt and you just jump into it, and then
Yeah.
you kind of get into it. And something else I think is interesting and is how you respond to the negative stuff, right? Because a lot of times negative things will fold people. So, you had a guy ripping off your business. that might have discouraged someone from continuing going, and instead it lit a spark under you. And then you go up there and you're getting this machine, and you're around other people that are involved in the manufacturing side of these businesses. You think they would be supportive, but instead they're saying, no, you can't do this. And instead of saying, all right, well, you're right, saying, no, I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
Um,